Welcome, Walnut. I'm Lara, but you can call me Lazz, your host for Walnut Wednesday. This is your reminder to be brave, be yourself, and know that you can make the world a better place just by what you decide today. Here, I'm going to share my weekly walnuttings with you on a Wednesday.
Hello, Walnut. It is me, Lazz, here for episode 300 of Walnut Wednesday. I have not done anything spectacular. I have not planned a celebration. I have not planned a giveaway. I am sitting here on a Walnut Wednesday evening. It's freezing cold. I just ate a whole bag of lollies. My baby is sleeping and I am reflective. I am in a reflective mood. I have been to therapy. And I am reflective, and I thought what a fitting time to record episode 300. And I have alluded to the idea that weekly episodes are going to end, and I'm going to release all pressure of weekly Walnut Wednesday episodes, and just do them as they come up, as I do interviews, as walnuttings occur, and just release that pressure gauge, which is kind of scary, but it feels right. It feels like I've done my dash. And you know what? I might even record next week and be like, surprise, episode 301, I had more to say. But if I do, I do. And if I don't, I am giving myself grace and a huge pat on the back and smack on the butt for a job bloody well done. 300 episodes for free, not being paid for something that is just my little side joy, that I have tried to make my full-time joy and hasn't quite become that yet. I'm a podcast host, I'm a podcaster, and I don't make any money off of this. And I probably could have started strategically and got the views and all of the things, but I love my average listens amount. I love my average listens downloads. I love the figures that I make, in terms of like the statistics that I make from Walnut Wednesday, because my Walnut community is an engaged community, and I feel like we know each other so well. And I don't know, it's just been the light of my life for a very long time, and um, I'm just so proud of myself. So yeah, uh, it is not with a heavy heart, but it is in great pride that I welcome episode 300 and waffle along and just kind of take a wander down memory lane with you and just share where I'm at 300 episodes. I think you've been with me through everything, through leaving a job that I thought was my forever job and resigning and how hard that was, through every moment where I've had to like show just a smidge more courage and be brave. Um, every, so much, all of the trips, all of the travel, buying a house, my most recent initiation into becoming a mother. And I'm about to go on I feel like everything just builds up to the next thing. Every walnutting builds me up and makes me strong and resilient enough to handle the next walnutting. But there's a new one coming up, that I'm currently going through that I might share with you. We'll see if the moment passes, but um, I just wanted to I just wanted to have a 300 episode celebration waffle with you. So enjoy, sit back, put it on 2x speed if I end up waffling for a really long time. But please celebrate in your own little way with me, whether it's sharing this episode or sending me a message and telling me what episodes have been your favorite, or letting me know if there's someone that you want me to interview, or even if you want to be interviewed yourself, please reach out. Uh, I really love my podcast interviews. I feel like that has become a skill in itself for me, and to host people visiting. So it's just Walnut Wednesday. It's not over. It's not dead. The chapter's not closed. It's just not going to be every week anymore because of my life circumstances, and that's okay. And I've done amazing with it this far along. Um, so I wrote a couple of notes because I went back and listened all the way back to the original episode 1 of Walnut Wednesday, which is called Origins of Walnut Wednesday. And I thought I would, this episode, the theme was going to be something along the lines of like what I have learned from 300 weekly episodes, or like my profound learnings or sharings that I can kind of waffle along with you after at the 300 mark. 300 weekly episodes. I still it comes out of my mouth and I'm like, I can't believe this is true. Like from listening to the girl, I remember sitting there on my phone recording the intro, and I did it like 5 million times until I got it right. And same with that first episode, it was just off of my phone. And I remember holding it like this. I remember I was sitting at my parents' house upstairs in the lazy boy. Um, Sun was shining, and who would have thought 300 episodes later I would be in this position. Um, sorry, I'm off the back of an illness as well, Walnut. So I'm just actually might actually need to grab a glass of water. Think it's actually my throat chakra being like, are you sure you want to share the things, Lazz? Yes, universe, I am. So, um, after listening to Origins of Walnut Wednesday, I just to backtrack. Walnut Wednesday began because I started noticing how much I shit talked myself, how mean I was to myself, and it gave me a fright. It's not like I woke up one day and was like, ooh, I hate myself. It was just that I noticed all of these small little digs that I was giving, um, where I was just really, really nasty to myself. I made myself the butt of jokes. Um, it was just, I was just mean to little old me. Um, and I had a colleague, and we kind of talked about when I kind of like noticed and called it out. We sort of said, I when I say a mean thing about myself, you call me out and call me a peanut. And when I say something nice about myself, you can call me a walnut. And thus the nut analogy kind of like came up because a walnut is bigger than a peanut. I did the live videos that I talked about. Um, I talked about how I portray myself versus how I am seen by others. I talked about how we don't talk about nitty-gritty deep divey stuff in society, yet when you do a deep divey scuba dive post, all the commentary that I got and all the people that were relating, but it's not something that was widely talked about. I talked about, when you see someone in the street and then pretend not to see them because you don't want to like talk to them, all sorts of like strange society things. Um, and then I sort of defined being a walnut as a person who decides to give things a go even when they're scary. And I said, um, I welcomed you along to the ride of finding myself, and the metamorphosis of the walnut kind of began. And I think goal, I'm going to start crying, is achieved, really. I feel like you've been along for the ride for, like I said earlier, just everything, every part of my life. Um, I have come to share it here on Walnut Wednesday. So, yeah, I think it really has been a ride, and I think I really have found myself, and we can get into that a little bit later, but I think I genuinely have embodied what it means to be a walnut through and through. I think a walnut is that is ingrained in me now. Um, I am brave. I decide to be brave in so many moves that I make, big or small, all the time, always. And I know that even though it's scary, or it's going to hurt, or it's difficult, that there is this sensation of bliss around the corner after a walnutting, after something really, really scare-sighting. But yeah, I really have embodied it. I have kept on. I have had the courage to take you along with me on my very, very real journey that I called the ride of finding myself. Um, and Walnut Wednesday is the back catalogue of a life lived. Like it really, like I said, you've been here for my life. So long as Walnut Wednesday has been alive, the celebrations, the pain, the reflection, the initiations, every step of the way into becoming the beautiful walnut woman that I am now and that I'm so proud to be and embody. Um, and just projecting to who I'm going to be at the end of my life, I'm proud of her too. She's like gonna be looking back being like, damn, I did some stuff. And how cool that a podcast was a part of that for someone who didn't really ever speak up for herself. Um, so it's not the end of Walnut Wednesday. I definitely don't think so. I love I love being your podcast host. It's been the catalyst to finding my voice, to speaking up for myself, to say no or to say yes, in an aligned way, um, to celebrate, especially celebrating when I overcome really challenging things and to feel really, really deeply, and especially when the struggles are real. We know we all feel feelings there. I feel like you've seen me cry 500 million times, nearly every other episode. Um, but yes, I'm following along with notes, Walnut, but I've said that I still want to interview people that empower me, inspire me, and I still want Walnut Wednesday to be a place for walnuts just like us to know that we are not just solo walnuts in isolation searching for purpose. Like we are doing it together by sticking up for ourselves, by being brave, by making hard choices and owning them and owning our story and owning our voices. So yes, Walnut Wednesday is certainly not an end post. Um, and yeah, we're not just isolation around searching for purpose. We are the purpose as walnuts, right? Um, yeah. So I don't need to do this every week. Not in my new current state, not in this initiation of becoming a mum, and not at present. I cannot. The nervous system cannot have any more additional added pressure. Um, so I thank you again. Um, and then I've got here, think of how many things that you do once a week, um, and that you have done 300 times or more. Brush your teeth. You probably brush your teeth every day. Empty the dishwasher. So many mundane little things that you have done 300 times. And I guess the point of me like thinking, writing this down was sort of just thinking like, you can bloody do anything. You can make anything a habit and make it into something great, or the other way around too. I've put here, you can literally do anything if it is a priority for you, and you will make it happen. Um, so I just wanted to drill home on I never thought I would be sitting here 300 episodes, like every single Wednesday for 300 episodes, I have showed up to something not, to something I have created, to something that I am passionate about. Now that is something to chew glass about. I don't know why I'm chewing glass. But to counter this though, you could probably also think of another thing that you have put up with 300 times a week. Um, or that you've done once a week 300 times. And it gets to a point where enough is enough, right? And then you feel the feeling of there's a change that needs to occur. And you walnut and you do the things, and it happens like that too, which is another way to spark passion or walnutty goodness into your life. Um, what comes to mind when I sort of counter the you can do anything if it's a priority with the you also put up with things just like on repeat, um, which does build resilience, but it also brings, how I've always said walnut, that being a walnut is a lonely thing sometimes because people don't get you. Um, I also wanted to sort of like dualical, polarical that statement with, that definition of insanity is doing the same thing all the time and expecting different results. Sometimes we need to pivot to to get a change, to get something different. In all of the ways. I'm not going to waffle on that point because I think that makes a lot of sense. Um, Walnut Wednesday is has been the backbone of my life, where on the sidelines of my life, I have just been working on myself. I've just been executing courage and becoming brave. And I have built myself up to be the most resilient, empowered version of myself yet, ever to exist at present. Um, which leads me into my next walnutty venture. And on that thing of the catalyst for change, needing to move in order to get different results and all of the things, my next walnutty venture is a separation off the back of becoming a new mum and being postpartum. So that's what I'm navigating. Um, the waters are rough. The seas are sometimes stormy, sometimes calm. Throat chakra's bubbling up again. Let me have a sip of water. Um, that's what I'm going through right now. And I'm not going to air any dirty laundry. Uh, I'm not at a point where it is appropriate to share the things. Uh, but this is what I'm going through. And funnily enough, I had in my head that I was going to record episode 300 today, and I was listening to Walnut Wednesday, last week's episode of my drive. And after that, a wonderful reading from Amy came on. And Amy's readings, they do come out on a certain date. But also the transmissions, they apply at the time that you hear them and take what resonates and blah, blah, blah. So this was something from, I think the dates were like April during Mars retrograde. And anyway, anytime Amy comes on, it's always for a reason for me. So on this episode, she was talking about learning to say fuck no. And especially in the woo-woo coaching industry, it's a lot of human design people as well. They talk about your fuck yes, like follow your fuck yes. Just follow the yes, and that's a recovering people pleaser. That's hard. That is really hard. As is saying no. Um, but this really resonated with me because the fuck no, it's sometimes you get to a point, the 300 times or whatever, the things just happen over and over again. And there's this, it's not even a breaking point, but it is a point where the fuck no screams at you so loudly that you cannot ignore it anymore. There is a literal energetic shift that is like, this is a no. This is a no. There is nothing else. Roast into glasses, gone. Wool from the eyes, gone. Forest, trees, everything, gone. No. Fuck no. And I'm riding a really, really short wave at the moment, and I say short wave because I think I've already processed it, I'm already at peace with it, of being okay with being the villain in someone else's story. Um, I've talked a little bit about, my villain era and all of these little things that I've gone through as walnuttings, but on the fuck no analogy is just learning to be okay with being the villain because I know my truth and I don't need to withhold my voice to protect anyone else but myself. So I don't need to prove anything. I don't need to say anything. I don't need to explain. I know. I got the hit, the catalyst, the moment, the momentum, the zhuzh of a fuck no, and I know why that came, and I know why I have that, and I know my truth, and I don't need to. That's it. Full stop. Full stop. And so that, in some people's eyes, will make me the villain of a story, and just that being okay with that. I think I am the villain in many people's stories. It made me think about things where, yeah, where I have done mean things. I've even done Walnut Wednesday episodes on some of them. Um, but yeah, this just coming to terms with the fact that I just have to be okay with being that person. But I know my truth, and that's all that matters right now as I kind of go through the motions and carry on as the walnut that I am. Um and Amy is so funny. She also in this episode talked about Pretty Little Lies, and she's like, please do not watch that. And remember, Walnut, actually, this might have been before Walnut Wednesday's time, but I broke up with one of my best friends once, a long time ago. And I was so depressed, it felt like an actual real life breakup, that I was just ordering like $5 pizzas and binge watching Pretty Little Liars because I was so sad. It was like weekends on end, just watching Pretty Little. I was just really sad. So it's funny that all of these themes kind of keep coming up. But basically, Pretty Little Liars, if you don't know it, probably don't watch it. It's long. Maybe just look up a summary. Um, but Amy talked about just out yourself. Just like, why didn't they just come clean in the very beginning? Like we don't need 7 seasons of a dragging on drama when the initial blackmail thingy wouldn't have been that big a deal in the first instance, sort of thing. So it reminded me of episode 300 because Walnut Wednesday and the work on myself has built me into the woman where I was presented with a choice to let history repeat itself and continue on this weird, not even weird, just continue as is, and stay for another season of the same the same plot in different ways, um, or to decide to be brave and make a move and be a walnut, to stand for something different and to stand up for myself. And the irony in this, because of the battles that I have had with identity, motherhood, especially through my condition, I didn't want motherhood to change me or anything like that. Gosh, oh, throat doesn't is like, are you sure you want to be talking about this? The irony is that my baby was the catalyst for this big walnutting that I'm going through right now. Um, and this is why I think Walnut Wednesday is so special because every little thing has led to now. I don't think I would have been strong enough to make this choice had I not been initiated into motherhood. Similarly, I would not have been able to be initiated into motherhood if I had not done all the previous walnuttings before. So I just love Walnut Wednesday and being a walnut so much for that. But um I for for my baby, the catalyst for making this really, really hard choice, this decision, this fuck no, and go with it. I refuse to be that woman. And I refuse to be that mother. And I refuse to this this like underlying societal stuff sitting in here that I can't quite put into words, but I want my baby to see, learn, and understand that this is how a woman behaves. This is how his mum behaves. This is how she uses her voice. This is how she moves through the world. And I want him to grow up to learn these things, not to be confused why, oh, I don't understand why she's grumpy but then didn't say anything or whatever the situation may be. I I want him to learn these things not only for himself and how he moves about the world as a person, but how he treats others. Um, as he kind of gets older, and that being, yeah, that's important to me too. Um, something that has struck a chord with me today, and um, it's happened multiple times, like a handful of different people, of women, where I have just been saying about my situation, not not bagging on anyone, not, no vents or nasty thing, just factually saying that this is what I'm going through and this is what I'm doing, and it's been hard, and how I've been feeling, um, and it's come really out of the blue to me, but then when I think about it, it's actually not, and it's actually so much more. But the handful of women that I have talked with, um, just randomly too, like one was like my work friend, and I just sort of explained, gave a brief update of where I'm at, because we haven't seen each other in a little while. And I've had all of them say, I'm I'm proud of you. And uh, okay, we're gonna cry on episode 300 as well as every other episode. It's hitting in a very random, out of the blue, but not out of the blue way. It is the biggest compliment to be having right now in a balancing out, like, justice searching for way. Um, I feel like I am literally breaking an ancestral timeline, even as close as like my Oma, um, where women of my family, but outside of that, women in general, typically shut up, be the good wife, be the good mum. They stay, they endure, they do things because it's easier. It avoids conflict. It avoids the heavy work that it takes to make change or to try to enforce change. And I have decided to change that narrative for myself. And I am being really, really brave and moving through something difficult in an already difficult frame of mind, time, situation. And am already going through difficult things. So, Walnut Wednesday, episode 300. It's it's a look at who this girl was. This girl being me, as in Lazz. It's a look at who she was in Origins of Walnut Wednesday in episode 1. What she aspired to be, which wasn't much. What she thought of herself, which wasn't much. How many yeses she said, but because she felt like she had to, not because she wanted to, she could not say no. And morphing her, jumping on the ride that I mentioned earlier, the metamorphical, into the woman I am now. Uh, I've been driven to, the analogy of a frog in boiling water. If you put a frog in boiling water, it's gonna just jump out. But if you chuck a frog in a lukewarm pot of water and slowly turn the temperature up, it's just gonna sit there and boil and boil and boil and boil until it's like, oh shit, I'm burning! And that was my fuck no. And the temperature just turned up and up and up and up throughout my whole journey on all different things, not just relating to present. And I feel like it's come to this. It's come to the episode 300, where every one of these episodes, every one of these moments were my building blocks, my stepping stones to being and becoming the most outstanding walnut woman that I am proud of as well. I'm proud of me too. When the random out of the blue comments came and they said, I'm so proud of you. And I was like, what the fuck? On reflection, and on reflection, especially of 300 episodes, I am proud of me too, in so many more ways than I can articulate. Um, and I want to just explain or wish, manifest, hope that somewhere in these 300 episodes, like my baby, like my walnutting was for me, that there is your catalyst for doing something brave, um, for you, walnut, as well. Um, yeah. If you can, and if you want to, you will. And sometimes you gotta like you don't realize you're in a boiling pot, and then you're like, fucking hell, I'm in a boiling pot, and fuck no. And you might have the same sort of experience as me. Um, but let's going forward after 300, 300 and beyond. Let's lead this charge. Let's lead this charge for walnuts, and in particular for walnut women, because this is big. It's so much bigger than just individually you and I. It is an us thing. We'll lead the charge for walnuts who think that they're peanuts, and I still believe that we can change the world just by what we decide today. So, Walnut, I hope you love yourself today. I hope you listen to yourself. It all started because I started listening to myself, and I didn't have very nice things that I was hearing, but I started listening to myself. And in turn, I started being listened to by this podcast. Um, and I hope that you have a moment, Walnut, today to look back on what you have achieved, what your 300 is, better be it that number or more or less. And I hope you look back with grace and pride and knowing that tomorrow the sun will shine out of your butt again, even if you have hemorrhoids, even if you have a mushroom garden. Um, tomorrow, tomorrow is always going to be there. So Oh my God, Walnut, we've just got this, don't we? I'm so proud of you as well. I'm so proud of me, but I am so proud of you. And I am so grateful for you. So that's all I got. That's all my profoundness on this Walnut Wednesday Eve, um, where I have recorded one episode a week 300 times. Holy shit. Thank you so much for being here on the ride, on the journey. I will talk to you maybe not next week, but I will talk to you on a Walnut Wednesday and I will talk to you soon. Happy, happy Walnut Wednesday. Happy episode 300. And I love you so much. You are beautiful. You are sexy. You are delicious. And if you want to do it, you will. Bye, Walnut.